Dr. Varun, and I am going to teach you forensic medicine and toxicology. And today we are going to start with toxicology and general consideration of toxicology. Am I audible?
Yes.
So what is toxicology? A poison is a substance which when administered, inhaled or ingested is capable of acting deleteriously on the human body. So a poison can be any substance, okay? It can be in any form, it can be any substance which has harmful effect on human body. If that substance either is inhaled or swallowed or ingested or applied on the body. Even it can be poisonous on the local application. In case of certain poisons, if it is applied on the body, they have adverse reaction. That can be allergic reaction or adverse reaction, that is poison. So poison is basically nothing but any substance in any form. It can be a liquid, it can be a solid, it can be a gas which has harmful or undesirable effect on body. There is really no boundary between a medicine and a poison. For a medicine in a toxic dose is a poison, and a poison in a small dose may be a medicine. So a substance can act as a medicine, and it can also act as a poison. The thing that depends on it is quantity. Simply, if we drink water in desirable or required quantity, then it is fulfilling the need of body, it is required by the body, it is having no harmful effect. But even the water is taken in large quantity, then it can be harmful for the body, then it will act as a harmful substance. Similar with the medicines. Medicines have certain actions on the body. If they are given in required or desirable or small quantity, they produce the required effect. That required effect is medicinal effect of the medicine. But if it is given in, taken in the higher doses, then the effect which was medicinal effect of the medicine will be exaggerated, and that will be beyond the limit of desirable effect, right? So it will be harmful for the body. So this harmful effect of the substance become poisonous effect of the substance. So what it is written here, that if a substance is given in a small quantity, it can act as medicine, and if it is given in large quantity, then it becomes poison. There is no clear demarcation line poisonous substance and medicinal substance. A substance can be poisonous or it can be medicinal. Now there are some laws regarding poisons. Okay. The Drug and Cosmetic Act 1940, the Drugs and Cosmetic Rules 1945. It is Act that was framed in 1940, and these are the rules of this Drug and Cosmetic Act which was framed in 1945. The Pharmacy Act 1948, the Drugs Control Act 1950, the Drugs and Magic Remedies Act, and Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act 1985. So have a view on these laws. So the first, the Drugs and Cosmetic Act 1940. It regulates the import, manufacture, distribution and sale of all kinds of drugs. One of its main features is the control of the quality, purity and strength of drug. So basically this act deals with the manufacturing, of any medicinal substance, of any drug, its import, its storage. Okay, so it decides, gives rules regarding manufacturing, export, import, quality assurance, right? So one of the main features is what? To control the quality. A drug substance or medicinal substance or a cosmetic product is manufactured by many companies. So there should be a standard which should be fulfilled. Okay, there must be a required quality of the product that should be met, and that quality is decided under this act. Purity, how much the pure substance should be. Okay, a company can manufacture a product of having 10% purity, and a company can manufacture a product of 90% purity. So there must be a standard that this product must be 80% purity. Then it is applicable for all companies or all the manufacturing units who are manufacturing that substance. So that is guided by this act. The strength of the drug. Any patent or proprietary medicine should display on the label or container either the true formula or a list of ingredients contained in it. So whenever you have purchased a medicine or any cosmetic product, you have seen that there is a list of active ingredients or ingredients. Okay, there are some ingredients along with the stabilizers, emulsifiers or preservatives. So what this act defines that in case of any patent or a proprietary product, there must be the formulation or the ingredients which should be maintained on the container or the packaging. This act empowered the central government to form a drug technical advisory board and to establish a central drugs laboratory to help and advise both the central and state governments. This act was amended in 1964. So what is the use of this act? This act gives power to the government to set up an advisory board and to set up a central drugs laboratory. This advisory board and this drugs laboratory helps and gives advice to the governments. It can be central government or state government regarding the manufacturing, their storage, their import, export, purity, quality standards to the government regarding the products. Next is the Drugs and Cosmetic Rules 1945. They were framed under the Drugs Act 1940 to regulate the import of drugs, the function and procedure of the Central Drugs Laboratory, the appointment of licensing authority, and the manufacturing, distribution and sales of drug. So, Act defines what should be the standard procedures, right? What should be the standards regarding the manufacturing of medicine, standards regarding the purity, regarding the strength, regarding the quality. Now, to make that standards uniform, some rules are needed to drive, and these rules are constituted under the Drug and Cosmetic Rules 1945. It basically gives us knowledge about the functioning, how the central drug laboratory will work, what are the functions of central laboratory drug, how the import of the drug will be done, how the manufacturing will be done, what will be the method of distribution and sales of the drug. So all rules regarding the import, manufacturing, distribution and sale of drugs are mentioned in this rule. These rules also classify drugs into schedules as follows: Schedule C, Schedule E, Schedule F, Schedule G, Schedule H, Schedule J and Schedule L. So there are multiple types of drugs depending on their functions. So drugs have been classified in different schedules, right? These schedules contain a category of drug, just like schedule C contains the biological and special products. All the products which falls in this category will be scheduled under Schedule H. Schedule E contains list of poisons. Schedule F contains vaccines and sera, so all vaccines and all sera will be under this category. Schedule G contains a list of hormone preparations. Schedule H contains the drugs that are the poisons to be sold only on the prescription of a registered medical practitioner. Schedule G contains the list of diseases for the cure of which no drug should be advertised. Schedule L contains the list of antibiotics, antihistaminics and other recent chemotherapeutic agents. So the different types of drugs depending on their functions are classified in different schedules, right? And this schedule is given in this rule. So the Pharmacy Act 1948. The next law related to poison is the Pharmacy Act 1948. It was passed in the order to make better provision for the regulation of the profession of pharmacy and to constitute Central Council of Pharmacy and State Council of Pharmacy. The object of this act is to allow only the registered pharmacists to compound, prepare, mix or dispense any medicine on the prescription of a medical practitioner. So when all the rules regarding the manufacturing, sale, import, storage, distribution of the drugs were made, then there was a requirement to set standards that who will prepare the medicine, who will dispense the medicine. There must be a minimum qualification, who can dispense the medicine, who can prepare the medicine, because a particular knowledge is required in this process. So this quality was assured in this Pharmacy Act. Okay, so this Pharmacy Act was made to improve the profession of pharmacy, and it allows the constitution of state and central pharmacy councils. And these pharmacy councils will set the standards and will register the pharmacists who can dispense the medicine, who can compound the medicine, prepare, mix or dispense any medicine on the prescription of physician. Okay, but there is an exception in this law, that this law doesn't apply to the physicians who dispense their own medicines. Okay, if a physician is dispensing his own medicine, then he do not need any permission or any registration in this pharmacy councils. Okay, so this is the only exception where a physician can also dispense his own medicines. The Drugs Control Act 1950, it provides for the control of sale, supply and distribution of drugs, the issue of cash memo for sale, marking of prices and exhibiting list of prices and stocks. It gives power to fix the maximum price of any drug which may be charged by a dealer or a producer. So basically this does provide the control of sale. Okay? How the drug will be sold, how the cash memo will be prepared, right? So to control or to standardize that process, this act was framed. It allows to mark the price of the product, okay, and it also allows the government to set any maximum limit or any maximum MRP of any drug that can be charged. Okay, there is an MRP which is listed on every medicine, and this is the power of manufacturing companies, what price they want to sell. But in case of certain drugs, the government can decide that what will be the maximum retail price of that product. In recent last year, we have listened that more than 650 drugs are listed in a category where the prices have been fixed by the government of India. Have you read or listened? That price of certain drugs which are essential or which are necessary medicines have been kept by government of India. So this was done under this law, where the government decides that this drug is essential or this drug is necessary, and the maximum price on which it should be sold should be this. Okay. The Drug and Magic Remedies of the Objectionable Advertisement Act 1954. The object of the act is to ban advertisement which offend decency or morality, and to prevent self-medication and treatment which causes harmful effects. Advertisement of magic remedies for procuring abortion or prevention of conception, increase of sexual potency, correction of menstrual disorders, and treatment of venereal disease is completely prohibited. So this Drug and Magic Remedies Act gives some censorship on the advertisement of different medicines or different drugs. It bans the advertisement which offends anyone's decency or morality, right? Along with this, it also bans the advertisement of drugs that can be taken by the person himself, that is self-medication, because self-medication is always harmful. Okay? A normal person doesn't know what dose he should take, what quantity of the medicine should he take, right? So this act bans the advertisement so that to prevent self-medication, and it also prevents the advertisement of magic remedies for procuring abortion or prevention of conception, increase of sexual potency, correction of menstrual disorder, and treatment of venereal diseases. It is like that no one can claim that I have certain medicine which can cure a particular disease 100%. I have a magical remedy that can cure venereal diseases, that can cause abortion. No one can claim, and he cannot claim under this law. So this law prevents the advertisement of magic remedies. Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance NDPS Act 1985. It was amended in 1989 and 2001, and it repeats three acts: the Opium Act 1857, the Opium Act 1878, and the Dangerous Drugs Act 1930. So basically, before this there were three rules. The one was Opium Act 1857, second was the Opium Act 1878, and third was the Dangerous Drugs Act 1930. These three rules these three acts were demolished, and a single law was framed, which is Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act, or NDPS Act. Right? The Act consolidates and amends the existing laws relating to narcotic drugs, strengthens the existing law relating to narcotic drugs, strengthens the existing control over drugs of abuse, enhance the penalties particularly for illegal trading offences, makes provision for exercising effective control over psychotropic substances, and makes provision for the implementation of international convention relating to narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. Now what is psychotropic drugs? So psychotropic drugs is any substance that alters the mental state. ठीक है? Any substance that alters the mental state or mental functions falls in the category of psychotropic drugs. And narcotic drugs are like cocoa, cannabis, opium, poppy, like this. In the recent time, you have listened that in Maharashtra, many people are getting arrested in search of narcotic drugs. Have you all listened? This is under this NDPS, right? So this NDPS Act prohibits the selling and the use of narcotic substances and psychotropic drugs. So it strengthens the existing law relating to narcotic drugs, their use, their sale. Next, the Prevention of Illicit Trafficking Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act. So this act is basically related with the production, processing, transport, import, export, sale, purchase or use of any narcotic drugs or psychotropic substance except ganja. Right? So these are the rules that are related to the poisons or the narcotic or psychotropic substances. Now some common household poisons. As we already discussed that any substance can be poison, okay? But there are certain substances which are marked as poison and they are regularly used in our home, in our daily life. Okay? So first, domestic poisons, just like cosmetics, cuticle remover like potassium hydroxide, trisodium phosphate, hair weave lotions like thioglycolate salt, nail polish removers, acetone, baby powder, boric acid. In kitchen, baking powder, baking soda, dishwashing compounds like sodium polyphosphates, sodium carbonates, fire extinguishing fluids like CCl4, sodium carbonate, match, it contains phosphorus, antimony and potassium chloride. And sanitary like deodorant tablets, drain cleaners, disinfectants. Some miscellaneous household poisons like insecticide spray, mothball, marking ink, ink remover, cleaning solvents, fluorescent lamps, furniture polish, paint remover, shoe polish, hair bleach, paint on toys, fireworks, crayons, wax crayons, garden poisons like insecticide, fungicides, weed killers. Some therapeutic poisons like antiseptic, tonic tablets, tonic syrups, sleeping tablets, headache tablets, cough remedies, throat tablets, pep tablets, antidepressants. So many poisons we have in our home. Right? There are many things which can act as a poison. Even a simple matchbox, your cosmetic products, nail paint remover, right? Some medicines. Everyone we have in everyone home we have medical kit, first aid kit that contains certain medicines like painkillers, antispasmodic, cough syrup, basic paracetamol. We have this, so we should know that these are poisonous substances. So to prevent from the poisoning from these substances, like basic floor cleaner, phenyl, Lysol. What are these? These all are poisons. So basic education regarding these substances is necessary. So what are the preventive measures? Education is major component of any poison prevention program. Education is must. Knowledge about the product is must. We should know what is the use of the product. If a poisonous substance is present in home, then it should be beyond the reach of the children. This is basic education. All drugs and toxic substances should be kept in locked cabinets, so no one can easily access to these substances.
Sir.
All household poisons must be kept separate from food. All products should be kept in their original containers. Why? Because there is a marking on the original container poisonous. Have you seen a yellow box?
Yes, sir.
And poison is written in this in that yellow box. So original container should be kept. The label should be read before using the drug. No drug should be given or taken in the dark. Reason being, a wrong drug can be taken by mistake. All drugs, whether expired or otherwise, should be disposed in a safe manner. Drugs in childproof packages only should be purchased. Okay, so no child can easily access the medicine and can take it. So a childproof packaging should be taken. So this is the basic knowledge about the drugs, poisonous substance that we have at our home, and some basic information about poisons that are related to the basic laws that are related to the poisons. Okay, thank you.